First of all, I want to welcome everyone to honor this wonderful mother, sister, grandmother, and aunt. I also want to welcome her friends from Cheryl and Temple, Daughters of the Nile, and their nobles, the Red Hat ladies, the Alcoettes and Alcoa unit, and her friends. I thank each of you for taking the time out of your day to celebrate with me and Connie for the world's best mother. At every place there is a little, it's like a sticky note, but it don't have stickies on it, okay? And if everyone would write down either a Bible verse or an encouragement word, there's a bowl over here on this table. You can put it in there when you leave. And this is for, and put your name on it. And this is for Mom to pull out one a day to read it. So, and Connie, I think you're up next.
Mom, you're up next.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Okay. Well, Mom, a lot has happened since you've been born. You were born at a time when our country was in a deep depression, when Roosevelt was our president, and he came out with the New Deal, which was great. But at a time when a new house was only $6,145 on average. To rent a house, $15 a month. Boy, wouldn't that be great now? The average car cost about $625. Gas was just 10 cents a gallon. And a loaf of bread, 9 cents. A pound of hamburger meat was just 13 cents a pound. And your average wages, of course, in the middle of the Depression, is about 1,070. So a lot has changed since you were born. Also during your time, Monopoly was the most successful board game. These are just some little tidbits I pulled up. Swing dancing had become popular, and I know you used to do that, so I got to learn that later on in life. Your entertainers, and this is just a few, you've got Nat King Cole, Betty Davis, I can't read my writing, so Lucille Ball was around, Walt Disney, Shirley Temple, there's tons more. But a lot has changed, and I just think it's just been, I think that to me, your generation was born at where you saw so many changes. And I think that's exciting to have gone through all the years that you've gone through and seen all the changes from then until now. Technology-wise, for sure has boomed. So you've grown a lot too, Mom, because you've learned how to get on the computer. So that was exciting. I can remember when she first learned how to get on. So anyway, that's just a little bit about the 30s and when you were born.
Started the computer things. Now I'm going to talk about when me and Connie were growing up. Growing up with Mom couldn't have been any better. She put us in dancing, cheerleading, ball, and was always there to support us. She let us have the spend the night companies and the spend the night parties, especially me, because I thought I had to have someone spend the night every weekend. Connie and I both had our own Barbies, and we would put every one of them, plus our other dolls, in the bed with us at nighttime. I know Mama had a heck of a time trying to make that bed up the next morning. She planned vacations, took us to across the country to, first, let me get this right. First, we went to the World's Fair in New York. Going across the country, we saw Carlsbad Caverns, the Petrified Forest, Disneyland, and on the way back to Las Vegas. And to Hawaii, which she will tell you was the best vacation she could have ever taken me on, because I got rid of a boyfriend she called Brucey May. Then I used to cook when Monday through Thursday for Mom and Dad. And I called Mom one day and I said, Mom, this is not big enough for the meatloaf. She said, well, that's all the ingredients that goes in it. So I doubled the ingredients. Well, when Mom got home, she looked at me and she said, "What's the meat sitting on the counter for?" That was the story of my meatless meatloaf. Something I never have been able, that's something I've never been able to live down. Mom has always been an extremely independent woman and a very hardworking woman, which taught Connie and I what kind of person we should be when we grow up. Mom, we thank you for being our mom, and we love you so very much. Now I need to bob around.
Oh, yeah.
When Mel asked me to tell some stories growing up that were funny, the story I'm going to tell was in the mid-1940s. There were 7 siblings in our family, and Beth and I, being the youngest, we had to pretty much look after each other. The next sibling was 7 years older than Beth, so they didn't have a whole lot to do with us, so we were pretty good buddies growing up. The story I'm going to tell now is there was a cartoon character back then, his name Cheryl, in the funny paper. And Beth looked at a cartoon of him one day, and he would pull the dresser drawer out, make his bed in it, and that's where he would go to sleep. Beth decided she would be Cheryl one night. Now bear in mind, back in the 40s, we didn't have electricity in our house. We had Beth slept on one side of the room, my brother and I slept on the other, and there was a kerosene lamp in the middle. Well, that night, Beth pulled the drawer out on the dresser, climbed in it, and the next thing we heard was this loud, thunderous noise. The lights went out, and what had happened, the dresser turned over with Beth in the drawer, shoved her up in there, and of course, with the kerosene lamp there, it was dark. Believe me, it's dark when you don't have electricity. And the only thing we heard was, "Oh, me." So, fortunately, I guess my brother and I and someone, we were able to get the dresser off of Beth and get things back in order. That's a story we've always liked to tell. And one other one, Beth does hold a grudge, and she reminds me of that every time I see her. We lived in a large farmhouse that had a rail all around the front porch, and the poles hold it up. Beth and I decided one day that we pulled a couple of them out and started to knock on the other side. His favorite dad was standing close by. He wasn't real happy with what was going on, so he grabbed Beth and was beginning to whip her. Now, I guess nowadays it would be called a spanking, but it was a real whipping, wasn't it? So I could see right off I wasn't too much in the mood to get a whipping, so I ran. And there was a big briar patch in the back of our house, and some way I crawled way up in the middle of that briar patch to the point that Dad couldn't get to me. So I don't know how long I stayed up in there, but later on that day, an older sister and her husband came down, so I figured, well, it's time for me to get out and see what happened. Well, by that time, Dad had gotten over being mad, didn't want to stir up anything, and I never did get a whipping on that day. Until this day, Beth reminds me, there's a whipping that you never got. And one other thing is, as we mentioned, growing older, Beth, you're looking great at 80. I remember this toast this one lady of ours, after a few good drinks of bourbon, would always give this toast. She said, "It's not old age that makes your hair turn gray, and it's not old age that makes the teeth decay, but when your mind makes a date your body can't take, that's old age." So, Beth, here's to you.
I would like to call on Marcine, please.
supposed to talk for a couple of minutes about Beth, well, there's no point in my getting started because it'd take a lot longer than 2 minutes. So anyway, there's nothing that I could tell y'all about Beth that you probably don't know, unless it was something that she did that you really shouldn't know. And I was in on it, so I'm not about to tell you about that. Anyway, I'm not going to tell our secrets, Beth. We probably going to have some more that we won't tell them either. I will tell you this. Beth is loving, kind, giving, outspoken, considerate, opinionated, forgiving, a very good cook, a gracious host, and one of the best friends that anybody could ever have. I tell you what, I can't imagine a life without you having been in it, and I can't conceive of the future without you in it. We plan to have a lot more good times, and I love you very much.